Starting. Let's see. Oh, hey, there we go. We are live. What is up, my people? It's a little bit different of a setup today on the live stream, but it's okay. We've still got things going on. Let me know if the sound is okay. I hope it's using the right microphone. We will see. Actually, it's the right microphone. So now it should be. Hopefully that makes the sound better if anybody's here and watching. Yeah, I'm just gonna go on here and like do some social media stuff. We're waiting on Josh for a minute, just to see. He's supposed to be here soon. He was getting stuff off. Yeah. What's up, Chris? What's up, Ramsey? What's up, Vamptastic? How are we doing today? Trying to get the link to this thing so I can throw it up on the Instagram. How are we doing on this fine Thursday? I am trying to make things happen. I've had a very interesting afternoon after I got off work. I've been stressed and running around like a chicken with my head chopped off, and it's been just insane. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing better than me. And yeah, we're going to jump into this thing. I think Josh maybe just got home. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to invite him. We'll see whenever he shows up, I guess. That's good, Chris. I'm happy. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're having a good day. If I can type with one hand, microphone all in the way. Blankety blank, blank, blank. All right. We have sent the invite. And let's see if Josh shows up. He just went to the gym, so he's going to look super swole, and I'm going to be over here. Not the looks of this operation today. But, all right, let's post this thing on Insta, do a little Insta story. We are live. No. Link in bio.
What's up?
We're live. Yeah. Oh, hi. Just jumping right in.
Yeah, just went to my phone and I was, you know how Google Hangouts is. It goes 9 places before you can find it.
It's true. It's true. I told your secret, by the way.
What?
I told your secret.
What is it?
That you went to the gym right before this so you can look extra swole.
Actually, it was leg day, so it's like more, you know.
Oh,
so 1 second. I realized that you can't see me because I had OBS on. Let me refresh.
Okay. Josh is going to leave us. On the glass half full side of life. Chris, I do too. Especially specifically in as I look back on things. But in singular moments, I get stressed out. I was telling the chat that I was stressed, and Chris is telling me that he does the glass half full side of life, which I agree with. But right now, I'm just stressed because I'm running late. And I get off work later than I normally do, so I don't have as much time beforehand to set all this crap up. How's your day going?
Good. I just crossed the new checkpoint today. So got 10K finally. And then it'll be sweet. It's going good. Had to work. Went and picked up some, I don't know, I've been doing some Android automation stuff. So way out of the scope of my job, but that's how this life goes when you're in software. Hey, can you do this? I don't know. Or will you try? Sure.
Can you figure it out? And if not, post 14 Stack Overflow questions and get it done.
That's the key to software.
So what are you writing Android automation with?
I'm not writing any code. I'm using an alternative app called Automate by Llama Labs. It lets you set up some basic linear logic to click buttons on your phone, open apps, minimize apps, destroy apps, opens up like prompts. And yeah, basically I had to make a decibel meter that streams data to a database with a phone.
Interesting. So it's like, what's that thing called that you use for front end? Like Selenium? Is that what it is? Have you ever wrote or used Selenium to like play around with things?
Selenium is a Python automated thing, right?
Yeah, but you can use it for like front end testing, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I can show you. Oh, I have it on my phone here. It's this.
But don't you write? But you can like write Selenium programs to like go click around things and make sure that things aren't broken on your website. Yeah.
Yeah, on the website, yeah, but on some random Android app, I don't know Java.
No,
I don't.
that's what I mean though. It's like Selenium, but for Android, right?
This is what it looks like. It's like little graphs and drawing and stuff. So
Oh, interesting.
it's like not code at all. It's just automate apps. Like this is like kind of like lateral logic, PLC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lateral logic.
That makes sense.
Pretty neat.
Chris says, congrats. Big inspiration. I know. Josh is the man. Congratulations on 10K blowing up. It was just like a couple months ago.
Going. If I go, you're coming, Chris is coming, Joe is coming. Who else? Who else is there? Everybody's going. I'm not that kind of guy that would be like, okay, bye. Like,
deuces.
Yeah.
Go enjoy hanging out with Casey Neistat. It's fun.
If I could get Casey, Gary V, Peter, who else? There's a bunch of people that I'd like to get.
Peter McKinnon would be dope.
Yeah.
Who are some of your guys in the chat's favorite YouTubers that aren't programmers? I'm a big Peter McKinnon fan. So I'm trying to figure out why my computer is running like god awful right now. It's actually hurting me a little bit.
It looks fine.
No, it's just on my end. Like things are like super duper laggy.
Windows update.
I'm on a Mac though.
So it's probably still Windows update. That's how they get you.
Yeah. They just take over. Microsoft just buys your computer itself. Now they own you.
Sell your soul when you click the agree to terms on Mac, though.
Well, you sell your soul when you agree to terms to anything. Ask people who are on Facebook.
That's true.
Oh, man. Ramsey, dropping names in the chat. Ramsey, I was a friend with Dreaded Dev. I thought he was a good guy. But I know there was drama in the world. But there was no drama over here. So we all good on that end. John Strand. Do you know John Strand, Josh?
I have no idea. I have to. Let's look. I have it open up on my other.
There we go. I do need a new MacBook Pro Spectre, but they are hella expensive. And I really need to figure out if I'm going to go with another Mac or get a Windows computer so I can up my streaming game and actually use like OBS and a video capture card in my camera as opposed to like shitty ass Apple webcams.
I think the quality's all right.
I mean, the quality's all right, but if I can use like my camera, it would be way better.
Can you, I don't know, there's like two John Strands. I've never heard of them. I'm looking at all the links. I got nothing.
Nothing. Let's see. I'm into gamer type of stuff. Optic Big Timer, Nadeshot, MKB8. I like Marquise Brownlee. He does good stuff in his video quality. That 8K downgraded to 4K is what's up.
Nadeshot, Marquise Brown. We got, I don't know. I'd have to open up my subs.
Chris, what's your basketball needs? Who do you like in the NBA? Josh, are you into any sports? We talk about sports here sometimes.
So, yeah, I'm going to be that guy that was picked last on all the sports teams because I don't really know anything. I'm more of like the single team, right? But more the extreme stuff like paragliding, base jumping, all that stuff. Like all the extreme stuff. Anything you see on Red Bull is what I like. Not so much classic team sports. Maybe it's not because I don't like it. It's just because I wasn't into it because people rejected me when I was growing up because I was a fat kid and I got picked last. So inherently I would be like, all right, well, I don't like you guys either. And that was just kind of my life. So I just never got into it.
I understand. I was fat and also I was just bigger than everyone in general when I was a kid. So like football was my calling. I was the only kid who could like hike a football. So I ended up playing center and offensive line because I was taller and bigger than everyone else. And then I stopped growing and everyone else caught up. So
I tried football when I was in high school for, I don't know, like a 6-week training thing before the season starts. And I was constantly winded. And I was still the larger than life kid and not the good way. So I quit.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Now I got to get that in life every day. So
let's see. Robert Fish, what's up, my man? If you guys don't know Robert Fish, he runs a YouTube channel. He's also super cool, and he's Australian, and he's a developer. He's super dope. Josh, do you know Robert?
No. What's up, Rob? Actually, wait, the name looks familiar. Yes.
It's Program for All, I think, right? So he's super cool.
Dude, welcome aboard. Thanks for watching.
Chris is a Milwaukee Bucks fan, which they have Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, and he's like a really good basketball player. I'm talking over Josh's head now.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know sports, right? I know the people.
Yeah.
I just don't take the time to sit down and watch the game, if you're wondering.
Well,
but I'm aware.
The Milwaukee Bucks are kind of a deep cut. I feel like if you don't pay attention to the NBA, you're not going to know nothing about the Bucks. But we could talk about LeBron, I guess. Or
all right, now you're in my language, or I would say
in
the same realm, sort of.
Nigel wants.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nigel wants to know if you use Vue.js at all.
I do not. I'm a React guy, and I do .NET at work. I've looked at the free course on Udemy. I want to do it. It's like Vue 2 crash course, something like that. That looks super cool. It's free. Might as well do it.
Yeah, it's legit. I think Traversy Media has a few like crash courses on it, so might pick it up someday. Serge isn't into sports either. Prefer gaming. I've watched some esports from time to time, some League of Legends streams. I'm okay with it.
You know, I watch Twitch probably more than I would watch TV or anything else. I'd say YouTube is TV for people our generation these days.
I like Twitch. I follow a couple people on there, mostly League of Legends people, a little bit of Fortnite, a little bit of PUBG. So, yeah.
Top 3, 4, 5, something like that. They move around.
So Ruben has a question. Is it possible to build web applications with just knowing backend only? I prefer to buy a WordPress theme versus building from scratch to save time. What do you think about that, Josh?
I would say you can grab a template. It's not that hard. Yeah. There's a lot of free templates out there, which is almost what you're doing with WordPress, but I still like the customization of being able to do it from scratch. But it depends on what you need. If you need a back-end stat that you can connect to with a front end, WordPress is pretty, I would say WordPress is the way to go. But I don't know, are you using like free, what kind of hosting you got? You got to pay for it? Like,
yeah.
What do you think?
I would say the only thing that I would, the thing that catches me off guard about the question is that you're asking, is it possible to build web applications, and then talking about WordPress. And I wouldn't suggest WordPress as a backend solution or a WordPress theme as a front-end solution for an application. If you're building websites, that's something completely different, right? WordPress is really good at building websites, but if you're trying to build out a web application, WordPress isn't your best option. It'd be better to write a custom backend on your own, for sure. So, but you can also use backend languages to write front-end code. Right? Like you don't really need to know the front end. You don't need to know JavaScript. You can make a Ruby on Rails app or use like Laravel and use PHP or Django and use Python. And you're like not going to need to know or have a deep understanding of JavaScript to make a web application. You'll need some, but not a lot. Josh, are you muted on purpose?
The reason I muted myself is because the way this Hangout works is when I talk, everyone sees me, and I have a drink. So when I pulled the cup to my face, I don't want people to be like, that's annoying. So.
I can just talk the whole time. I'll just be really loud so it goes over you. No. What did you use to stream on Twitch, Serja? So I don't know how many people in the chat are super familiar with Josh, but I thought that it would be cool to have him over on the stream. If you don't know his channel, it's Joshua Fluke. He's in the chat. You can see the name there. Am I saying your last name right, by the way?
Yeah, I've heard every combination you can think of, but how you said it is correct, yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, Chris Sean in the chat. What is up, Chris? Are you still working? It's still like work time for you, isn't it?
Chris doesn't understand what anything else besides that word means. It just works nonstop.
That's true. Nonstop, go, go, go. RPGs, retro games, horrors, and miscellaneous stuff. That's what's up. Chris told me the proper way to pronounce it. It's fluky.
I mean, I've heard more vulgar connotations of it too, as a kid.
Well, I mean, do you know what my last name is, Josh?
Beta? I don't know.
My actual last name is Newcomer. So just imagine what kids do to that last name.
I feel like that'd be like you set up for like a band, the Newcomers. Like
maybe. I was never. I was in plenty of bands. Never one named that because I can't sing, and you can't name a band after a guitarist.
For tech lead, who would want to fight? Are we talking strength or development? Probably him in development.
Tech lead. Who's tech lead? Do I know tech lead?
No, Mayuko and then Yoma and all those people. Tech lead is also in that little group. You know, like there's Jarvis, Yoma Tech, Mayuko, and then tech lead, and they're all in Silicon Valley, and they all know each other, and then they all boost each other up.
I know Mayuko and Jarvis, and that's it. I just actually watched a Jarvis video earlier.
It's funny.
The why you shouldn't be a programmer.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So anyways, if you don't know Josh, he's here. He's hanging out, and I wanted to talk to him a little bit about kind of his like journey to code because he has an interesting story. Lots of it parallels a lot of other people on here, and a lot of it is a lot different. So, Josh, what did you do before you went to college? Like, what were you into? What kind of kid were you?
I wanted to be a pilot, and then I did a lot of like, I just wanted to be a pilot, and I played WoW and video games my whole life. So then I got a degree in mechanical engineering, and then I got my first job, and I was just an employee number, badge in, badge out. The company would run at 100% capacity, even if I wasn't there. It didn't matter. So I was like, I need to be producing, be creating something that people are going to use. And I really wanted to work remotely, and they told me that was never going to happen ever. So I Googled what jobs work remote, and all of them, every single one of them was like developer that I could find, besides like customer service, which didn't pay what I was getting paid at my engineering job. So I looked up a code boot camp, had no idea what I was doing, only heard it on the news. Like it was like when Hack Reactor was like, you know, up and coming, and it was on the news, and it was like, can you get a job in 3 months? This company says, like, type deal. And then went to code boot camp for 3 months. It was part-time.
What year did you go to code boot camp?
It was like 2015.
Okay.
And then it was part-time. I struggle bus through it. Like safe to say I was the last person on the roster, right? I was like your top 99% of the class, which is bad. And then I don't know, I got a job at a startup. They told me no, and I was like, wait, hold on, let's talk about it. And then they told me yes. And then I worked part-time, did that, moved full-time to another job for a contract that was getting ramped up. And then that contract fell through, and they were like, yeah, sorry, we thought we were going to have all this money to pay you to do this thing, but we don't have that contract anymore, so bye. And I was just like, I like relocated, got a new apartment, signed a new lease, and I was like, well, I just moved like across the valley to be here, but they didn't care. And then I got another job. I was fully remote, so it didn't matter. And then the election happened because it was a government contractor, and then the new people, when that happened, were like, all right, budget reviews, everything's on hold, so they ran out of money. And I got let go again. And then I applied only to remote jobs and tried to become YouTube famous in that time. You know, like if you look at my old videos, they're super cringe, so please don't do that. But it didn't work. So
did you try to be Utah YouTube Jake Paul?
Yeah, I actually did all the things that you tried to do to be YouTube famous. That was like the same time Peter McKinnon made his first video. I made mine when I was like really trying, and now he's at like 2 million or whatever. And I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. And I was super motivated. And then like I'd spend 9 hours making a vlog. And then you realize if no one knows you, no one's gonna watch it. No one's gonna care because they don't know your personality. And then you get like 20 views, and that was pretty demotivating. Yep. And so anyways, I got an office job and negotiated my way into remote before I accepted it. And so now I do that and teach code on the side.
You just went through your entire backstory in like literally 6.5 minutes.
I can share deets.
We have the origin story out of the way. Now we're on to movie number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So is there something going on in the chat? He indirectly said that he would smash him IRL. Do you have beef with someone, Josh?
I think that Ivan. So Ivan's in my Discord. I linked this chat in my Discord. Told him to come over here.
You brought the trolls. You brought the trolls.
Well, you get Ivan. That's just inherent.
What's up, Ivan? Nice to meet you.
I guess he was talking about tech lead. I don't know. Tech lead looks like he doesn't lift. So, I mean, strength, I would probably win. Code, he would win hands down. No beef.
Josh says, come at me, bro. That's what he says.
If you want, we can arm wrestle or something gay. You know, whatever.
So Serja asked, what are perhaps the top 3 places you'd recommend for looking for a job as a new developer? My question is, when you say top 3 places, do you mean in the country, like actual like places that you can go to, or places like to apply to, like websites and job boards and things like that? Because if you're talking about places, it depends on kind of what area you want to work in. But if you're talking about job boards, Indeed is dope and Dice is dope. And Josh, what do you apply to things from?
Like top 3 companies? That was the question, right?
I think it's top 3 places to find jobs. So like either meaning like places to look, or like Indeed, LinkedIn, Stack Overflow.
We work remotely.com, remoteok.io, Stack Overflow Perks Remote. As you can tell, I like remote. Indeed. Cyber Coders is a recruiter site strictly for software. And then Monster Jobs is okay. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no luck on Monster. I found 2 gigs or I found my first gig just by looking like local. Basically, I looked up local startups and then found their career pages and applied there. I also found my second job through connections, like networking, and I found my third job kind of organically between being recruited and also knowing, like having a common connection to this job that I just started on Monday. So I haven't really actually found a job through a website, but yeah, Indeed is where I had the most luck as far as getting like calls back for sure.
I got like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and AngelList is always desperate to hire. That's
AngelList.
Like, don't do it for equity though, unless you can like live for free. Because there's a lot of jobs that are like, we'll pay you 2 or 3%. Like, it doesn't matter until they sell the company. So avoid that.
Yeah. If they're offering you like 30K less than another job, but they're offering you X amount of equity, understand that like most startups fail and they don't get sold. So you're never going to see that equity. And there's also different versions of equity and who gets paid out first. And if they have a bunch of investors, your equity might not actually be your equity. It's all, have a lawyer look at it or something, because you can get screwed over really easily when you're taking equity. How many jobs have you had since you started this, Josh?
4.
4?
I would say 5. Wait, hold on. We got startup job, PHP job, React job I have now, and then I teach code, so 5.
Nice.
I didn't like.
I'm on.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna say I'm on job 3 after a year and a half. So the grind is real.
Well, I mean, I didn't have a choice. It was more like, sorry, we ran out of money, and I was like, well, but you know, I sacrificed that for smaller companies for more flexibility. Like, I know that might happen, but I will do that any day, given more flexibility to work the schedule I want and where I want. And that means I might not have a job, but it's fine. I'll take the risk. I don't know. I don't have kids and a family, so.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. And plus, like you said, there's more flexibility. Like there's less oversight when you work at smaller places. Usually the culture can be better. I just took a job at a place where like the employee count is like 7. So, you know, and it's super fun.
Or what?
Super fun. It's not a startup. It's a creative agency. It's been around for 7 years. They've just kept it small. So, but they've worked with like big names, like Skrillex, Kendo, and Kylie, like random people. So,
what's your job? What are your duties?
I do development work for the front end. Also, getting into like WordPress stuff because they do a lot of like website development, internal like projects and apps. So I'll be working with React, possibly React Native in the near future, doing like mobile stuff, which I've played around with on my own, but never like for money. So we'll see soon.
Cool.
Ivan wants you to do a YouTube diss track, and if you do a YouTube diss track, please put me in it, because if there's one way to become YouTube famous, it's releasing a dope YouTube diss track.
So the thing is, like, I can't rap or sing or have musical. The only thing I do is occasionally make trap music. I don't know, because I'm from Atlanta, right? So
I don't know if you know this or not, but neither can anyone else who makes YouTube diss tracks, so you'll fit right in.
If I could just go ahead and get Rice Gum to do that for me, I'd be all right.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Get Ghostwrite for Rice Gum.
No, I think we would go for iDubbbz first.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather have iDubbbz on a track than Mr. Ricegum.
Yeah, we take iDubbbz.
Captain Splash, what were your 2 YouTube videos about? Also, we've confirmed that Trump fired Josh, and that Travis is definitely a troll, or at least your Discord brought trolls.
No, I said bomb chat with Aaron is the best, and then this is what you get. I'm sorry.
This is what I get. Tevin, I currently live in Durham and I work in Durham and I love Durham. And somebody a little bit further down the chat said Durham's dry for web dev, and I disagree. It's got a lot of tech jobs and a lot of web dev jobs. There are a lot of big companies that are hiring like in big numbers, usually through recruiters, and then there's a lot of smaller to mid-sized companies, usually like either gone through a couple of series of fundraising or been acquired like recently in Durham that you can find jobs at. So I actually think Durham and Raleigh specifically are both really good places to find jobs.
Durham and Raleigh are pretty hard because you're competing against the college there, though. Like, you're constantly churning out grads. I know it's really good for engineering jobs because I got loads of stuff from there, but now computer science, so I feel like it's probably, I don't know. Maybe I'm just ranting, but
yeah, I would say you compete with grads from like NC State and UNC Chapel Hill, but Duke grads usually like move back up north because nobody from Duke, like nobody that goes to Duke really is from the area. So yeah, but there's a reason why like there have been multiple boot camps in the Durham Raleigh area that have been super successful pushing people out and like getting them jobs, and it's because there's a need for it. You might be harder to find a job if you're self-taught because you're right. You're either going to have a degree or go to a boot camp for sure.
Self-taught's doable, but you have to seriously think outside the box. Like, I would say, this is what I always say, like, by thinking outside the box, you have to think that there is no box and you can do whatever you want. Like, when you apply and you're self-taught, don't send your resume and application. Make like a little video and go find the dude on LinkedIn and be like, hello, guy, like whatever his name is, and be like, look, I know I don't have a degree. Hold on, just hear me out. And then you go on with your video. Like, you have to do crazy stuff like that when you're self-taught. But people think it's traditional, but you're already doing something that's not traditional, like skipping college and still looking for a well-paying job.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of hustle that needs to go into it, whether you're in Raleigh or Durham or anywhere else in the country. If you're self-taught, you have to hustle. And you have to make people believe that you're like worth a shot, right?
Mm-hmm. You just have to be like, look, I learned all that stuff in 3 months. I don't care what you have, I will learn it. If I can learn that in 3 months, I can learn what you want me to learn in, however fast.
Yeah.
That was my argument for everyone, and it's worked so far.
So Josh, did you hear that information about Dreaded Dev from him or from someone who talked to him? Because I haven't heard anything from him.
Joe told
Gotcha.
me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we were on a Hangout once after the stream, and I was like, what happened? He's like, I decided it wasn't for him one day. He just deleted.
Interesting.
Flaming Demon 21. What's up, dude? I don't know, you wanted to shout out.
Flaming Demon 21. What's up, my man? If you're self-taught with a degree in something unrelated, are you a lot better off? I don't know that you're a lot better off, but it's definitely another skill that you can speak to. I have a creative writing degree. Some people are really into that because they're like, hey, you can like do other things than just development and maybe like be able to write things down and be clear. So
make a movie, dude. You need to make movies about your career switch, and like you should go into the boot camp that you have and like write a screenplay for that and film it and then give it to them. I don't know. That'd be sweet. If you have the ability to do it, I tried to write screenplays for, I don't try to screenplay my videos, but at least storyboard some of my videos, and they still come out bad. But I like film probably as much as you.
Yeah, I mean, I love writing, and it's something that I haven't done in a long time that I need to get back into. But no, Ivan, you shouldn't do that. Don't hack into companies. Don't go to jail. Don't go to jail.
Only go to jail if you get caught. So do it until you get caught, I guess. But that's going to happen anyways.
It's true. It's true. No matter how good you are, they're probably going to find you. Yeah. You've heard Charlotte is where the good jobs are. I've never heard Charlotte, not because like I just haven't looked, but I've heard that, what is it? Greenville, South Carolina is really good. Heard that's the place to be in the South. The way I see it, someone who is self-taught has demonstrated a lot of discipline and personal motivation, especially if you got a lot of projects under your belt that are quality. That's true. And you need to speak to that. What you need to hustle for is like to get the opportunity to actually be in front of somebody to speak to it. So
you have to learn to sell yourself.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to know you have to overcome that imposter syndrome, because you're not gonna, if you're constantly thinking, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'm competing, and you don't have a chance. You've already dismissed yourself before the person that you're trying to get to hire you has dismissed you.
It's true. Ben wants to know, what did your portfolio look like before you first applied for jobs?
It was bad. It was real bad. I had get this, I guess. I had a workout app. The backend was on Firebase before Google bought it. And then it had like 3 different workout plans, and you pick if you want to like gain muscle mass or shred down. It's something like that. Anyways, you pick a body type, you enter your info, and then it would tell you like a workout plan for 6 weeks to do. It was really simple, but I tried to include an aspect of every technology that I learned at the bootcamp. So some of it was in Angular, then I had Firebase on the back end, and I had some random jQuery, which is bad to use with Angular, but I just wanted to showcase every skill that I had learned in one application, even though it looked like spaghetti code.
That's pretty funny. I had like 4 projects on mine, I think. A couple of them were using like external, like free APIs. Like there was one, it was like an e-commerce store that you could like go select songs, put them in a cart, and go through the entire checkout process without like actually giving any credit information. And the theme of the website was mixtapes. So you'd pick songs out using the Spotify API, and then we would we would put those songs on a like cassette tape and mail you the cassette tape as opposed to like listening to them. It was stupid. Anyways, but it showed off like using Angular and external APIs and fetching data and all that good stuff.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I did have a Spotify API thing that I made. It was super, it was just using the like basic search functionality, but it would use Angular to like pipe filter. So as you were typing, it would search in real time, like the 2-way binding deal, you know?
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Nothing fancy. Basically, I got my first job at a startup, and they were pretty desperate. So yeah.
Yeah, if you're self-taught, if you're getting desperate for jobs, like startups are a good place to go because they're going to be desperate. They're not going to have a ton of money to pay for a bunch of senior level developers. You're running a risk that it's not going to be the most stable job in the world. But a foot in the door is a foot in the door, and saying that you worked on like production code is better than saying that you've got 14 projects that you like followed a Udemy course on, right? So
that's all you need. You just need that first stamp on your resume saying you got paid to write lines of code. Once you have that, it's like 10x easier to get someone to look at you.
Yeah.
And even then, so this is the thing with like free stuff. Go do something for free for a friend, put that on your resume. You don't have to tell them you weren't paid to do it, as long as it's online, hosted somewhere for a business. That's like the cheat.
Or make up a fake business and put it in like Oregon if you live in Florida, and no one will know the difference.
Yeah. Just don't do it in WordPress or Squarespace. They'll figure that out.
Yeah, no Squarespace, no Wix, because they don't want none of that. Unless if you're applying to a WordPress job, you can build it in WordPress. But
I have to do WordPress at my job. The main site for the company is in WordPress, and they outsourced it to some company to build the custom theme before I got there. And then they changed the design. They're like, hey, Josh, can you just change the... I was like, hold on, that's not how WordPress works.
No, yeah. You can't just like drag in. You've seen too many Wix or Squarespace commercials, company.
Mm-hmm. We need this bubble over here. No, well, hold on. Back up.
That's actual coding work. Thanks. Yeah. Somebody asked about a community college associate program in web development. What do you think about associate degrees?
I think it's the same thing as having a degree or not having a degree. It's just a checkbox. Like, maybe it will get you past the auto filter HR. That would be your best. I don't know. Is it priced? What's the price look like? You spending 30K for it? You spending 10K for it? If you're gonna spend anywhere like 12K and up, skip the associates and just go to bootcamp at that rate.
I agree. It would have to be super cheap, or for you to get like super dope grants from the government and go for free. Because I would say if you're applying to a job with an associate's degree and somebody's applying for a job with like bootcamp certificate, you're probably on equal footing in the eyes of the people as far as like education goes, right? So if it's pricey, like a bootcamp would probably serve you better because it's going to be done quicker.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ramsey says no. Ramsey says no to the community. Do you know Ramsey Jordan, Josh?
Yeah, he's been in my streams. I
He's
think.
a local favorite.
What's up, Ramsey?
Let's see, a React Native app or a web app? The thing that I put on my resume or on my portfolio was they were all web apps. I didn't know React Native. I had Angular 1.6 experience at that point and hadn't messed with React at all. So
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't messed with React Native, but I've done the only thing I've done on Android is code something in C Sharp, and then it was in Unity, and Unity compiles it down to Android code. So that's it. That's all I got.
wait, using Unity like the game engine?
Yeah, I made a game on my phone, and I was gonna I'm gonna be a game dev and just get. I've tried everything. I'm gonna do this and get huge, and then it's never worked ever. So I'm like, all right, I'll just keep making YouTube videos.
There you go. I downloaded Unity, I don't know, a year ago. I've had an idea for a video game that I've wanted to make because it's like a story that I've wanted to tell that I didn't think worked in a screenplay. So yeah, I've wanted to make a video game to tell this story, and I just haven't spent the time to actually do it. But I think game development would be super dope.
It is. It's just super competitive. You need an audience to be able to vouch for your content or to be
Yeah.
able to show your, like the marketing part is what gets you with anything in 2018. You can have the best product in the world, but if you have no visibility, it doesn't matter. That's why Amazon and Netflix are like the best companies in the world, even though they operate at like a profit loss. They have connections to people, which eventually they can take advantage of and be like, buy this thing, and we're all just like mesmerized. Okay, whatever you want.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the struggle with game dev I found at least.
Also, ECPI is a big no-no from everything that I've ever heard. I've never been there. I've never talked to anybody from there, but all I've ever heard is that it's the closest thing to a scam you can get, and it's essentially the Trump University of computer colleges. I don't know if you know anything about ECPI, Josh, or if you have that over there in the West, but
That is.
it's just a bullshit. Like I think it's an IT certification program like thing,
Is it
and
like
I don't.
IT Tech or DeVry or some garbage?
Yeah, ITT Tech, DevRai, they're all in the same vein,
So they're all the for-profit colleges that have predatory lending practices. Yeah,
right?
avoid.
It's the buy here pay here used car lot of colleges. So there are people who go there who are successful, and they are going to tell you about those people, but that's a very, very small percentage compared to the amount of people that start there and actually take out the loan.
It's like the people who, oh, those people who are successful would be successful even if they didn't go there. But now
Right.
the school gets to contribute the success to them. Even it's like my boot camp, right? Like we started with 30 people, ended with 5. In all honesty, the experience that I had was it was up and coming, right? It wasn't that great. I think it
Yeah.
maybe helped me, but I wouldn't attribute everything to that. I
Right.
think, I don't know.
I agree. The boot camp did not make it so that I would be good or bad at development. It gave me the discipline and the path, and I'm the one who took it. So it's just like anything else in life. You can have the like most dope quantum physics teacher in the world, but if it like isn't something that you're going to be good at or interested in or want to do or want to put effort in, then it's not something you're going to be successful at.
Yeah, don't avoid for-profit schools. They literally they max out the amount of loan that you can get per semester by federal law.
Yeah.
So like that's how they price their stuff. Like it's not for you. It's not accredited by anything. Like it's essentially your mom writing you have a degree and something you can stick on the refrigerator. Like avoid.
Right. Somebody said they went to something similar to ITT Tech in Canada, and I don't know if Canada is different with this, but I'm assuming they regulate it more. In America, it might be the Wild Wild West, but I don't know. I don't know enough about Canadian law.
My degree is from Finland, and it was a pain. It was a pain in the ass to get a first job because it's not ABET accredited. And the reason that we have ABET accreditation in engineering in the US is because of schools like ITT and DeVry. They're like, go get your bachelor's in electrical engineering in 2 years. Like, it's not possible. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But in Finland, it's regulated and it's impossible to do that. You have to take Calculus 3 in high school, like all this stuff. But when you try to explain it to people here in the US, they don't get it. They're like, where's your history and language arts courses? And I'm like, it was just straight engineering there. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
I had a fitness walking class in college once, and they were like, the hell is this, Josh? I was like, dude, they made me take it. It's required. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, Ruben, you repeated the question. We talked about it. You could buy website templates, but your website template isn't going to work for like a custom web app unless you're wanting to just make websites. Like if you're wanting to make a website for the coffee shop down the street, you can buy a template for that and do it. No reason you can't. You can charge more if you do custom work though. So Johan is following up on the associate's degree, saying he thought it would put him in line in front of self-taught kids. When it comes down to the job, do employers prioritize degrees over self-taught? My answer to that is that yes, sometimes, but only for the first step. Like only to call you back. That's it. Or like Josh said earlier, only to get you past the like automated trash bin that the HR software they use puts you in.
What gets you ahead is a portfolio. If you have a really great portfolio, it doesn't matter. They don't care. They just like, oh, he made this by himself, and then they'll quiz you on it. You'll get that typical, all right, well, let's test them. And then once you prove that, you're in. So portfolio over everything, degree at the bottom, skills and history at the top.
Yeah, being able to point to and prove skills is what's important, right? So portfolio, Josh is on that one, and a GitHub profile that has your code on it that people can go look at and see what you're like doing is important.
Like showcases what you've done. Like you don't need necessarily to show the, because like you can't always do GitHub, especially because they're people, because NDAs and they don't want you to show stuff. But you just need a website with some GIFs or screenshots or something they can scroll through, like a Marvel mockup or something. Just something to show what you've done, at least visually. And if you're doing backend, then your GitHub's your option.
Yeah. Do you use a CSS framework at work? Alex asks.
I use Sass, yeah. Sass and Bootstrap.
I use Foundation at work now, and I use it at my first job too.
I also use Material. It's called Material Design, Bootstrap, and then Sass on top of that.
Nice. Yeah, we use Sass and Foundation, and we use CodeKit to compile it, which is something I've just learned about. CodeKit, it's amazing. It does cost money though, so don't use it. I mean, you don't have to buy it. You can just use Webpack to like compile your Sass, but CodeKit's also super fun. Let's see. Went to IT. Oh yeah, the Canadian ITT. What do you think of CompTIA certification in security? Will the certification help me get a developer job? A security certification won't help you get a developer job because you're not working in security, right? They're adjacent fields. It won't hurt you. Like if you're interested in security and you want to work in security, I don't know enough about it to tell you that it's good or bad. But a security cert won't necessarily, like IT certifications don't matter in development. Josh, have you had to do any IT work when you were on any of your developer jobs?
Yeah, I do DevOps sometimes. That would be the only thing that it would benefit you in, is if you had to do a little DevOps, and then the security part wouldn't matter. It would just be the Linux knowledge that you gain, probably.
Yeah. That's 100% true. And like DevOps is usually not a job that they're going to be throwing a junior software developer anyway.
Yeah, it's like when they teach you backend at boot camps and stuff, like you make UMLs, like to design the databases. Like no one's gonna be like, hey, junior guy, make this database schema. You know, they're gonna hire some dude that's been doing it for 5 years and can make it the most optimized.
Exactly.
You're gonna come in is gonna be like, hey, we need you to go grab that data from this table. It's a foreign key on this one. And you grab that. Here's the API. Oh, then you're like, oh, I remember that. That's about it.
I agree with Andrew's response to you, Ruben. HTML, CSS, and PHP are more than enough to do some damage with making websites for sure. Finish up the last half of Treehouse and doing some personal projects. It's the right track. That's how Chris Sean got a job.
Chris Sean's a wizard.
Chris Sean's a hustler. That's what Chris Sean is. So, maxed $9K a year for school in the UK. That's really funny because cheap schools in America are like pretty close to $9K. So, yeah.
Year. I think the University of Utah is $6K for in-state people. It's double that. Triple that if you're not. If you've lived in another state and moved here and you haven't lived here for a year, it's $18,000 for a semester.
Ridiculous.
Like, kidding me? Let's Google myself.
Yeah, yeah, and that's for a semester. So multiply that by 2. Mm-hmm. When you got your jobs, did they try to lowball you when it came to the salary because you didn't have a degree? Take that one over, Josh.
I had a degree. I didn't have a degree in computer science. Which jobs are we talking about? Like, all right, well, I'll just assume that he's talking about the coding job. The first job I got was $18 an hour. I didn't have a choice. I was just excited to get paid to code. I didn't want to negotiate that one. I did ask them if I could work remote a couple days a week. That was dumb of me to do. But then they said yes, and I was like, wait, I'm like a king. And then I had no idea what I was doing, so that was bad. The second job, they offered me 45, and I countered with 50, and they said okay. The third job, they came at with me with 55. I countered with 65, and we met in the middle at 60. The other one, I said I wanted 60 to 70. They met me at 75. And then this job, I said I wanted between 65 and 75, and they said, okay, first 90 days, 65. After 90 days, you get 75 if you can do what we want. And so then that's what they did.
It's legit. My first job did not lowball me, but the first job offer I got did, and they offered me 45K, which is significantly underpaid for the area. And like a junior developer out of school making 45K here is like that's really, really low. And they knew it, and they were trying to take advantage of what my background was and how much money I made before that at my last job, because I told them an honest answer to what I was making at my last job, which was less than 45. So they were like, well, he's going to be happy that he's making more. And I said, nah. So, and they weren't willing to budge on it either, which is another red flag. Like they weren't even willing to talk about it. They said it during the interview, like during my in-person interview, my technical in-person interview. We know you said you wanted this. We can't get there. We can only do 45. That's it. There's no negotiating. And I was like, well, shit, I don't want to work here.
I'm more of the entrepreneurial mindset in that it pisses me off that the CEO of the company gets $50 for every dollar that I get. Like, why can't I be that guy instead? You know, like, I don't know. I understand you have to put your time in, but like in the future, I don't know. I'm just more self-individual. Like when I got the salary, they'd always throw a number out there. First they try to bait you into saying, that's why they make it required field on like a job app. Normally I just put 0 because I don't want to tell you what I want. Yeah. Like I want you to tell me what your budget is, because I know you're going to give me the bottom barrel of that budget. And so they're going to be like, Josh, what are you looking for in compensation? I'm like, well, what's the budget for the position? Well, what are you looking? No, tell me the budget, and then I'll tell you what I'm looking for, and we'll see if we match. It's awkward, and it's really hard to do because they just stare at you, and they're like, who is this guy? Who's this guy I think he is? And you're like, yeah, I'm not playing around here. Like, don't lowball me. Come on. We can both play the game. You tell me the budget, I'll tell you what I want.
Like, you're completely right. It's awkward. The job that I have now, I met the dudes and they were all super cool. And like, we talked like we were best friends. Right. And we had pretty much agreed to work there. But we had to do like the whole contract and like, or not contract, but like the whole salary negotiation. And they came at me with something that I just like couldn't do. Like I couldn't justify leaving my current job for, and I just told them that straight up, and I gave them like real answers. If you have real numbers to back it up, like, hey, it says I should make this on pay scale, or this is the average amount of what I'm making now, or I work here and make this now, and your guys' X, Y, and Z is going to make my life more expensive. Like I need this much more. It's easier to negotiate, and it's awkward, but you need to care about yourself first and not the random person who's like on the other side of the phone or email that you're, yeah.
It's hard when you're desperate for a job, when it's your first job and it's the only one you get, and you're like, yeah, I mean, this is what you could do, right? You could just have flexible morals, and I've considered doing this too, is take the job, do it for 2 weeks, and keep applying, do the bare minimum, take your free paycheck, keep applying, you know, like, it's not the best solution, but if they're going to lowball you, you know, and you have to live, do what you need to do. But
yeah,
I don't know, in general, just go ahead.
I would say you run a risk of like, especially depending upon how large the community is where you are or how large the tech scene is, you run a risk of dragging your name by leaving a job after a couple of weeks. If you're going to take a job and you aren't happy with the pay, you should probably be willing to work there for like 6 months. Especially if you're like in a small, like if there aren't a lot of opportunities where you are, right? Because you don't want like you to be that guy in the local community or whatever.
I don't know. It depends on it depends if you're gonna be homeless or not, right? You have to do what you have to do. But like, if I don't need the money and someone offers me a job and I like it, I'll just take it for a little bit do the bare minimum, get paid. Like that sounds really bad, right? But like my personal happiness and quality of life comes first for me, and so I'll just keep looking until I get a job. Like I worked at one job for one day, and then I quit because they micromanaged. You had to say, it was remote. Every time you walked away from the computer, you had to say, "Be right back, 1 minute. Be right back, 2 minutes." It was just a Slack channel dedicated to that. Every time someone stepped away or looked away from their screen, I was like, "Nope, I'm out."
I think it's a little bit different if you're doing like remote work. Like if it's a remote job, that's fine. But I got both of my jobs after my first one based upon connections.
Yeah.
And like don't screw over a local company if you're going to be applying to other local companies, especially if they're like really connected to like the local scene, because they're going to talk shit about you. And you deserve to be talked shit about if you like take a job for 2 weeks just to get a paycheck, right?
I have flexible morals, I guess.
It's not even a moral argument. This is like your own personal, like, yeah, you just don't want to be, you don't want to
You don't want to screw them over. Like I wouldn't do that, but I've had companies.
Yeah.
One company tried to give me an offer, and it had been like my dream company. I looked it up. I was like, this is my goal to work here. And then I was looking and I found it. I didn't take the job or do that. I've actually never done that. Let me just clear that up. I've never done that. It's crossed my mind. I was like, that's too scumbag to do. But like I found this dream company that I wanted to work for before I got my very first software job. And then like I finally had the opportunity to apply before I had the job I had now. And they had like, we only work 4-day weeks. You take Fridays to learn whatever you want, like learning Fridays. It was remote. And then I had an interview there and I started looking at what happened to all the devs, and all of them had been like, basically I looked on LinkedIn and it was like, from this date to this date, we worked there. And it was like 3 pages of LinkedIn so assuming basically they just got laid off, and they didn't tell me that in the interview. I had to find out on LinkedIn and looked at people's histories for that company to figure out they had just laid off everyone. And I asked, I was like, what's your plan after I take this job? Well, we're a design shop first. And I was like, okay, well, what happens after this contract? Well, people just hand stuff, down, word of mouth. I was like, nope. And I just like clicked end on the call because I was like, that's really scummy for you to do. Like, because they were going to do that to me. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I know what you're doing here. So I was like, nope.
Yeah. And that's the other thing to remember too. Like when you say flexible morals, it's not like every job that you're ever going to have or every job you apply to is going to have your best interest at heart either, right? Like they can have sweet perks. They can have a ping pong table and free lunches. They can have whatever. Like they can have the best perks in the world. It doesn't mean they have your best interests in mind. They probably have all of those things so that you work 12-hour days or 10-hour days or whatever it is, right? And you have to make sure that you keep yourself number one. So.
Yeah. I've just been like dicked over by 4 companies now, like I've been let go like 4 times. So now I'm just like, you know what? I'll do it myself.
Yeah, I understand. That makes sense. What's up, Taylor? Taylor in the chat. If you like books, on my bookshelf in the chat, she runs a YouTube channel. Super cool. GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab are essential for them to see your ability. Yeah, I just started using Bitbucket. I don't like it as much as GitHub, but yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
GitLab's okay. We use that internally at work. I think I would use a Bitbucket because they have free private repos. That's about it, though.
Yeah, that's what it is. And Bitbucket, yeah, free private. But I don't like any of Atlassian's, or however you say its products, like Confluence.
Whatever.
And it's Confluence and Jira. Fucking hate Jira.
That
might have been.
What?
Go ahead.
I've used Trello, Asana, Task World. There's one that's like Story something, Clubhouse. That's it.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's what I've used. And then there's Jira, which is, I guess it's okay. And you don't really have a choice. You just use what the company's using. My company still uses Skype. It's the worst thing ever. Like you can't @tag people. You can't hide channels. Like I've tried.
You can @tag people on Skype.
Sort of, but you can't mute.
Yeah, it just sucks. Yeah.
Well, we have like this company chat channel, and I can't mute it. Every time someone says something, it pops up in the corner. I have to put myself on Do Not Disturb, and then people think I'm not working.
That's the worst. Slack is so much better than Skype for those kind of things.
Rocket Chat sounds fun.
Cordova and PhoneGap. Josh has never heard of it. I know about Cordova and PhoneGap. I don't know if they're good or not, and I don't know what you're trying to do with them. I'm personally like a firm believer in React Native when it comes to developing phone or like native apps. or learning Colton or Kotlin and Swift. So yeah. Were you the guys working at McDonald's? No, I never worked at a McDonald's. I did work in food service for a long time though.
What did you do?
What do you mean?
What job?
Oh, you worked at what?
I worked at Subway.
Oh, I like did serving, like I was a waiter, and did bartending for a while, for a long time for tips. It was decent money. It was a terrible job, not getting off until like 4 in the morning and stuff. But I was a barista for a while. I made them coffee drinks. But
Yeah, I worked at a Subway inside of a Walmart, you know? So it was like
oh
people
yeah,
would come in and finish shopping and then come to you and they would just like line up. Like people would come in to be like, I like a I want a veggie sandwich with ham, please. And I'm like, you want a ham sandwich? And they're like,
Yeah.
no, vegetable sandwich with ham. Okay, all right. And then
they're trying to.
we'd like run out of stock and they'd be like, can't you just go over to the produce and get some? I'm like, that's not how it works, lady.
Yeah, that's entirely too much. I never worked in fast food, which I'm thankful for because I can only imagine. I worked at grocery stores when I was like a teenager, but
I did too. I was a courtesy clerk.
oh yeah. I was a bag boy and then a cashier, and then I worked in the dairy department.
I was just the bag boy, push carts for old ladies. And then you're not supposed to take tips, but they force you to take it because they're old ladies.
And they would like try to stick it in your pocket, and it's really awkward.
Like, there's cameras on the roof. Can you stop?
Yeah. Yep. Let me slip you that $1 bill though, son. Tevin, I know about Piper companies. Who are you meeting with at Piper? Because I've worked with Piper in the past when I was trying to find jobs. So I don't know who you're working with. They're nice people though, as far as I've interacted with them. How's the I'm assuming ambience in the workplace of these companies? Are you expected to be friends with your coworkers or just be polite? Depends on the place, right? If it's a really small team, you probably want to be friendly with them. I can't imagine working at a company with like 7 people and not being friendly with people because then you just drive yourself insane. Are you friends with your coworkers, Josh?
I don't know. I've kind of negotiated that I work remote, so they're a little bit salty that they didn't do that and that I have the privilege. So for the most part, I'm friends with the executives rather than I don't really have coworkers because I'm the only guy on my team. Basically, the other 2 people work remote, and then the executives are the only people I talk to on a day-to-day basis. So I mean, I used to go climbing with one coworker, then he got a different job. I mean, I would say I'm friendly to everyone. There's not anyone that I don't like. I don't know.
How do you feel about working remote? What do you think? What do you like about it?
I like the flexibility to set my schedule. I like the ability to stop working when I want, when my brain is mush. I don't want to sit in a cubicle and waste your time and my time. Just let me go home and do stuff, and then I'll come back when I'm refreshed. Or let me go work out or go to the store. I just need a break to think about things. So I do like a split day, which is why it's not very typical. And there's not a lot of jobs that do that. But since the 2 people that I work with on a day-to-day basis aren't even here and they work in different time zones, it doesn't matter. It's more about productivity than hours worked. And remote, like you have to have a boss that understands and agrees. He's not the type of person that's like, we're trying to squeeze every hour out of you. That's not how it works in software. Some days you're just like, look, I got nothing today. I just can't critically think. That was like, I don't know. I remote, or I'm very pro remote. I don't like people being over my shoulder. I don't like open offices. So what? Like if I have Facebook open up and you're gonna like report me to HR or whatever, do it. I don't care. Like you shouldn't care what I'm doing, but people do way too much. And so if you don't let me work remote, that means you don't trust me. And if you don't trust me, you don't respect me. So then I don't want to work for you.
You have some very strong opinions about this, Josh. I love it.
I can't. I say that because the engineering job I asked to work remote and they told me no, and I had the flu, and I was like, can I just go home and do these PowerPoints? They were like, sorry, no, you can reserve an office, but if someone else reserves it during the day, you're gonna have to leave. And I was like, so you want me to sit in my cubicle, open office, and get everyone sick? Well, I'm afraid that's the handbook. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then everyone got sick.
It sounds like you've worked in like the shittiest places ever, because like, I mean, my last job I worked remote 80% of the time, if not more. But my first job, I worked from home 1 day a week, and it was like it was an open office, but they were like the chillest people ever. They like, you were sick, you stayed home and you worked from home. And like people would just be openly on Twitter or like CNN and like, I don't know, like, yeah, it sounds like just like super toxic environments, man.
I don't know what to tell. Like, this is just my experience. I've been like, let go like
Yeah,
four
dude.
times, worked for crappy companies. So like, this is the fuel
That's
to
what I
like
mean.
make me want to do my own thing as much as I can. Like, I just want to, I don't know. There's not really like a business that I want to start. If I could just make a living helping people get to positions like I've had, not the companies that I've had, but like be able to gain a skill set to better themselves and make more money while this is still new,
Yeah,
then that's what I would like to do for a living. But I just can't
totally
do.
dig it.
I can't do an office, dude. Like I start to feel like an animal in a little bit of a cage. Like, let me free,
Yeah.
dude. I need to do stuff.
I'm a bird, I have to fly.
Maybe some people are like, dude, I don't get you, dude. Why can't you? I'm like, no, I'm not going.
Well, I mean, like everybody's different and everybody is more productive in different ways. Like there are some people who work better in cubicles. There are some people who work better in open offices. I hate open offices. I would rather have a cubicle. I'd rather be boxed in a 2 foot by 2 foot room than to be in a damn open office. But it is what it is.
I like to blast music. I have my own hardware here that I built. I have my own internet connection. I don't have to share it with some dude downloading or torrenting something in the office. There's no one that's gonna walk in behind me. If I want to get up and like go get a drink, no one's gonna be like, how many times has he got up to do that today? Like there's been like, I guess you'd call them like rats in the office that people are like,
Yeah.
they start counting how much you start doing something that's not your job. And it's like, look, why do you care so much? Please
Yeah.
leave me alone.
Okay. How many times did you check to see how many times I was doing something and why weren't you doing your job? But
Actually, that's what
anyways,
I started doing that. And we had like a
yeah.
little competition, but she never knew that I was counting her back. Because like literally every time I get up, go to the bathroom, she would like flip over this yellow pin pad and like make a mark. I was like, are you kidding me? For what? We have different
That's so
jobs.
funny. Yeah. Why do you care?
That's my
We have
rant.
a real question, but also we're going to be cutting the stream off, or I'm going to have to leave here very soon. The light is going down. I'm using a window to light myself, and I'm hungry, so it's unfortunate. But a pretty contest. Oh yeah, that's what it is. It's just people trying to be like petty, because they can be, and that's what brings some people joy, and it's not what brings me joy. So shrug that shit off. And if you're like Josh, find a remote job because they're out there. Somebody asked, "Oh, when are you ready to move from vanilla JavaScript to frameworks like React?" What do you think about that, Josh? This is a hotly contested debate.
You can't, I don't know. I would say you use 50% of JavaScript 80% of the time. Like you're not going to write vanilla recursion at your job probably. So I would start with the framework and kind of reverse engineer. That's how I learn best. Give me something complete. I'll figure out how it works. That way I can better know when to apply it later. That's what I do.
Yeah. I come from the exact opposite opinion. I think you should like have a pretty good understanding of vanilla JavaScript. You don't need to know like deep cut JavaScript. Like you don't need to be able to program Facebook or like a really intricate web app in vanilla JavaScript, but you should have an understanding of how it works. And that way, when React is no longer the most popular framework and you have to move on to Vue or whatever the next big thing is, you'll have a better understanding of how to pick it up from the beginning. But either one works. It's just dependent upon what your like particular learning style is. If you're better at reverse engineering, then go for that.
And that's how I've always learned. I'm not like the inventor.
Yeah.
I'm the person that can apply concepts, but like I'm going to leave it to someone else to come up with this brand new technology. You make something, I'll figure out how to make it work for something cool. That's the niche I'm in.
Makes sense. Taylor, thank you. I thought I was a good bartender. I like talking to people, and that's what half your job is. So, Megan Smith, I don't know her. Ramsey, you should get on the IG train so you can comment first on all of my pictures.
How
Be
much
super
longer
fun.
do you have, Aaron?
Like 2 minutes.
Okay, Chris says he can come in 10 minutes.
I can't. I really can't. Tell Chris to stop being on West Coast time.
I think he's watching, so he knows.
Oh, Chris, stop being on West Coast time. You guys should go do a stream on your channel if you have time.
We have to do it on Chris's channel. I'm tired of trying to like look like I'm stealing subs. It's not what I want. He needs credit. Let's do it on his channel.
Chris, do it on your channel. Ivan's not a troll. He's just from Josh's thing. Also, apparently, Danny Wong is super into you, Josh. He is a gorgeous man. He is a gorgeous, gorgeous man.
I put a heart back with a question mark. Are you talking to me? What's up, dude? Do I have Instagram? Yeah, you can go. If you want to see pictures of my dogs and of the gym, I don't know. It's highly different than what I don't post code stuff because I do that all day.
What do you mean, Jose? What if you have an accent? What if you have an accent? What?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
A lot of your communications, reading and Skype and Slack.
Yeah, most of the time that I communicate, like I sit right next to my boss at my new job. Literally, like I can touch him. That's how close we are. And he's super chill. But like we don't like we talk a lot, but also most of the time I hit him up on Slack because we both have headphones on. And if he's busy, like neck deep into code, you don't want to like tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, let me break your train of thought." Like, yeah. Chris, oh shoot, Chris got a date. Everybody wish Chris a good luck on the date.
I'll host Chris for those 15 minutes he's available. That's fine. I'll make him do it. He's so busy, dude.
Well, go wish Chris a good luck on his date when he goes to Josh's stream. Oh, what? Jenny now says, "Do you have shirtless pictures on your Instagram?" This chat is getting out of control. I should have never brought you on my stream, Josh.
Need like some cups or something for your thirst? Come on.
I mean, I am thirsty. I didn't have my water with me today. Anyways, Josh, any final remarks? Anything to plug? Do you want to drop your Discord in the chat? I don't know if you can. You might not be able to link.
Your channel. Like I have one. If you want to go see it, go see it. This is your channel. You plug your stuff. Go follow Aaron's channel. Subscribe to Aaron. Follow him on Instagram.
I don't have a Discord because I didn't want to make one because a lot of people have Discords. But I don't know how Josh keeps his community. I'm assuming it's dope because Josh is dope. So yeah, go click on one of Josh's videos, watch it, hit the subscribe button. Hit the Discord link in the chat.
Just go follow me on Instagram because Aaron said to start plugging that at the end of stuff. So look at my name on Instagram and you'll find me and follow me and you can look up dog pictures or me.
What's your Instagram handle?
Literally my name, just Joshua Fluke. Same thing.
Just go holler at Joshua Fluke on Instagram. And if you aren't following me on Instagram, come to me. I'm at 937Aaron.
Yeah. Wait, Jenny.
Oh, please. God. You can private message him on Instagram now, Jenny. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Let's cut this off. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Later. Thanks, guys. Bye. What is happening?